First up. Oh, look out. First up, first on the grid, is Peter Harold from Poseidon, and he's going to tell us all about what's happening there.
Hello. Okay, 5 minutes, 4 minutes 59. Here I go. You ready? Okay. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story today. So it goes back to when I was about 30 years of age. I was living in Melbourne, working for a company called MPI Mines. A few people here today know that story. And a guy called David Burt went into the mines department and found some old Anglo holes and did a joint venture, went out 60 k's to the north here, and the first hole he drilled was 14% nickel, and it was a private company, so we didn't have to disclose anything to the market. And 6 months later, we put a resource out, 440,000 tonnes at 14% nickel, 60,000 tonnes of nickel, and that was the discovery of Silver Swan. So that was nearly 30 years ago. I was 32 years of age. We built a mine and a processing plant, and then subsequently MPI was sold its interest back to Outokumpu. Outokumpu was then sold its asset back to MPI. MPI floated, and then MPI was taken over by Lion Ore. All this time, Silver Swan was producing about 5% nickel from underground. Something like 140,000 tonnes of nickel came out of the ore body over about a period of about 10 years. And then Norilsk ended up owning the asset after that. And then when the nickel price collapsed in 2010, the ore body was put on care and maintenance. Roll the clock forward, about 15 months ago, I decided to change roles from Panoramic to Poseidon. And the day that I walked in, one of the guys said, I've just drilled this little anomaly called Golden Swan, and we've run into some 8% nickel. I was like, oh, okay, that's good. So that's now known as the Harold factor. It's got absolutely nothing to do with me at all. It was all a guy called Steve Warriner, who's now with Estrella, but well done, Steve, for discovering Golden Swan. Here we are today with probably an ore body that we're hopefully going to put a resource out in about a month or so's time. We just raised $20 million last week to hopefully bring this project into production, and we're going to put it through the old mill that we built nearly 30 years ago, the 150,000 tonne processing plant, which I thought would probably cost us about $30 million to refurbish, but luckily we can probably do it for about $15 million, do it in 6 months. So by the middle of next year we could have a new ore body like Silver Swan, and we could have a processing plant re-going again and producing nickel. So that's only 12 months from today. So amazing story, and to think that I'm involved in that project again, something like 30 years later. So 30 years ago, I think I just got married. Now I've got my son with me, Oscar. So hopefully when Oscar's turns 20 next year, or no, later this year, we might even be at a point where we can make a decision to turn this thing back on again. So just incredible to think that an ore body that didn't exist 30 years ago, 140,000 tonnes comes out of it, and then we find another ore body 300 metres away, and you can raise $20 million in a very bull market for nickel again, and hopefully we'll be in production this time next year. So that's the Poseidon story. I got involved almost by accident, and I'm really excited about the potential. I mean, our market capitalisation has gone from less than $100 million 12 months ago. I think we tapped out at about $450 million last week. We raised a bit of money, share price came back as you'd expect, and we're well on the way to mining at this ore body, which could be phenomenal. The whole system is only 300 metres away, and it could be another parallel structure. So there could be another 150,000 tonnes of high-grade nickel. Really, really exciting. And then it's a little bit like the KTEL advertisement. Then you've got the steak knives. And how long have I got to go? 1 minute. Okay, so that's the Golden Swan, or the Black Swan project. We've also got the old Mount Windara, and there's a lot of nickel there, probably 150,000 tonnes. We could truck some of that down to Black Swan, put it through the big plant. Then we've got Lake Johnson sitting over here to the south. There's another 50,000 tonnes of nickel there. There's a processing plant that we could turn on again. So within 3 years' time, Poseidon could go from an advanced explorer to a producer with 2 operating assets, maybe producing somewhere between 15 to 20,000 tonnes of nickel. And the last time I was involved in a business that did that was Panoramic. We took 2 unloved assets, being Lanfranchi and Savannah, and we turned that from 2 assets which we paid less than $30 million for to a $1.2 billion company. But when the nickel price got north of $10, we were making $80 to $100 million after tax profit. And I can see an enormous parallel between what we did at Panoramic and what we're going to do at Poseidon. Thank you very much.
Beautifully timed, Peter. Well done.